Greetings, everybody. I'm TianaLaveen, your host for Tea Time with Tiana. I am an author of 25 books and counting. I'm also certified in human sexuality, and I have a readers group and fan group regarding my books that I write. And so I thought that I would begin to present them here on YouTube for the Tea Time questions. Basically, what they are people write me and ask me questions dealing with all kinds of things. So I've had some questions already asked, and I'm going to post some of the past Tea Time with Tiana's here, but I'd like to start with a few more. Just a little housekeeping rules. The questions can be sent to LaJoyce Qualls, who's an admin for my readers group. I will have that information in the video. And the questions can cover anything from love life, financial, advice for as far as career, anything like that. Please note I am not a professional regarding any of these matters. It's just my opinion. And I have had some life experiences, and I've talked to an array of people, and I've been around as far as getting together with people from all walks of life. So I've learned a lot along the way personally as well as through others. So with that said, I'm going to jump right into this tea time question, and thank you all for joining me today. The question reads, I would like to get Tiana's take on whether I'm being a selfish person. My husband has sneakingly told his mother she can come and live with us without discussing it with me. And I'm looking over here because I'm reading it to make sure I get the question right. Let's see. Plus, he is assuming I would be her primary caregiver because, according to him, you don't have anything better to do with your time, even though my health hasn't been up to par. I thought that was a dick move, and I told him so. Well, he called me a selfish jerk. I felt bad, but told him if she comes, he cannot and will not dictate how I spend my time. I've even felt guilty of reading my books because he says these books are a waste of time and money. Does it seem I'm being selfish and uncaring on my position in this matter? Oh, and when she and her son are together, they speak in their native language. I am not fluent. All right, let's get into this. I also want to give a precursor. These deal with adult content. I highly, as well as my books and everything that I write, and these are adult matters. So please know that in advance. Also, there may be some adult words used when I address some of these questions. So please just know that going in. Just want to give a warning in case you've got your little ones with you or anything. Okay, so there's a few problems with this. First of all, he talked to his mother-in-law, or he talked to your mother-in-law without speaking to you. And there's another problem even within that. She apparently is assuming that it's okay with you, or she doesn't care that he asked you. Okay? Now, that is a form of disrespect, not just from him, but possibly from her, if, she didn't even come to you to discuss it. Okay? That's number one. Number two, which is the obvious one, he didn't discuss it with you in advance. He just told her she could come. That's a big no-no. If someone, whether it's a friend or a relative, co-worker, whatever's going on, when you're inviting someone to move into your home that you share with your spouse or significant other, you have to clear those things with your significant other in advance. It doesn't matter who it is. So there's another violation. Then we've got this other situation where, let's see, he assumed that you'd be the primary caregiver. That is demeaning to you because it's suggesting that you have nothing else to do. And actually, it's not even a suggestion. He said it. So he's went even beyond that. Okay. And also, he called you selfish after you stood up for yourself, which is a form of manipulation, which some people also believe is a form of emotional abuse. Another thing is he said your books are a waste of time and energy and money or what have you. Some men in particular are intimidated by women who read romance novels in particular. Some men don't want their women reading at all. And some women don't want their men reading at all. It's a very strange thing, but I am aware of it. I have heard of that before. And we can get into more of that later. And then the last thing that is a problem or problematic, as far as I'm concerned, from my opinion, is the husband and mother-in-law speaking in their native language. Now we know that is like they're having these secret conversations, and it makes you feel left out, right? And that's probably intentional. They're saying things that they don't want you to hear. They could be talking adversely about you, and it makes you feel some kind of way. All right, now here's the breakdown for what I feel is going on. First of all, he doesn't value his marriage. When you value your marriage, you don't do something like that and then get angry when the person is not okay with it. Let's say that he did tell his mother it was okay for her to move in, then he saw your reaction. At that point, he should have apologized and said, I'm sorry. I thought that you would be okay with it. Can we discuss this? That would have been the correct way to respond to that versus calling you names. The other thing is, I'm assuming that the mother-in-law is having problems caring for herself. So if you're having health issues as well, that could definitely be problematic. So she possibly needs, depending on her situation, she needs someone who's more proficient in caring for an elderly person who needs a little extra TLC. Okay, and this should have been a family discussion. After he spoke with you about it, let's say you gave the okay for a period of time, then the three of you should have sat down and discussed expectations and what was needed and desired. You just don't do that. Whether it's a wife and her mom and husband, we do not have the right as wives and girlfriends to do that to our mate, or vice versa. It is very disrespectful. So you feel disrespected, and you should. The other part of this is what I had brought up was verbal abuse. It's not, no, he didn't call you the B word, but it's still a form of verbal abuse. When he's saying you don't have anything better else to do, and all this other foolishness. Okay, so we already have not only him being disrespectful with inviting someone into your home that you did not give approval for. I don't care if it's the mother-in-law or not. Like I stated, you talk about those things first, but then he goes on to do that. And then the books. Okay, I've heard that even some women have stated, well, the romance novels are unrealistic and they give expectations that aren't realistic. Now, sure, there is some of that, but I think that some women who don't even read romance novels say things like that because the old romance novels from the 60s, 70s, and 80s aren't anything like many of the romance novels today. Now, sure, there's there's escapism through that. People watch TV to escape. Those same people aren't stopping watching television that are criticizing romance novels. People go to the movies. People do all kinds of things entertainment-wise to try to unwind and do some escapism. And romance novels have gotten such a bad rap from people who don't even read them and don't even know what they're talking about. Because more times than not, with authors such as myself and many others that I'm aware of, we have a lot of realism and lessons in our books. So it's not just some fairy tale. We try to make the characters a bit more relatable to your everyday lives. Okay, so that note aside, yeah, the whole a waste of time thing, that's another form of control. Your husband seems to have control issues. Maybe he's feeling emasculated. I don't know what's going on. I don't have all the pieces of this puzzle that you're sharing with me and the audience. But it seems like he's fighting and vying for some sort of control. He feels like he doesn't have control. And it even seems like he's pushing someone in the house to help control you. Mama will control her. Something's going on in your marriage that has nothing to do with your mother-in-law. And I want you to think about that. There's been something going on inside of your relationship with this man where there have been troubled waters. You can't tell me this is the first time that he's spoken to you like this, and you can't tell me this is the first time that you and he have had disagreements. That's unrealistic. People just don't wake up behaving this way. This has been ongoing behavior. And though what he did was wrong, he's got some underlying issues with you that need to be addressed. This is all surface stuff. These are symptoms of something much bigger, because like I stated, you just don't do these things and say these things without some sort of groundwork. He's trying to gain control of a situation he feels is out of control. I don't know what his issue is, but you two have to sit down together and talk. Now, as far as the situation with he and his mother speaking in their native language and you're not fluent, if you plan on staying with this man, get fluent. You need to enroll in a class and learn the language. And I'm not even saying be sneaky about it, but you don't even have to tell him. 2-3 times a week, you can go to an hour-long class, or you can even take an online class to learn the language if that's not conducive for you. I don't care if it's Spanish, Russian, whatever this man is speaking with his mother, you learn that language. Like I said, especially if you plan on staying with this man. I think it's always imperative when we marry with someone from a different ethnicity that speaks another language as their first language or even secondary, that we learn that language. Not only is it being supportive of your marriage, it will help stop things like this, and it's good for you. You know how your brain like expands and grows. It just soaks it up. Now, of course, when children are young, they learn languages a little faster than us, but it's never too late. For instance, I want to learn French. I went to Paris for my honeymoon with my husband. It was wonderful, and I vowed that I was going to learn French. Haven't done it yet. My husband doesn't speak French, but I still want to learn it, and I'm going to do that. It's on my bucket list. So you learn that language, okay? So my suggestion is, or first I tell you, you're not being selfish and you're not wrong. My suggestion is that you sit down with your husband and you talk to him about it, and you don't yell at him, or maybe even do it in a high state of stress state. You sit him down and say, look, I know that you love your mother and you want her taken care of. I'm not the person to do that. When you did this, it made me feel this way. That's a little less accusatory, because one of the worst things we can do when we're trying to voice our opinion to our mate is get them on the defensive by our use of language. So you want to come to him and be like, look, honey, I love you. I love my mother-in-law as well. But these are the problems I have with this. And when you said this to me, it made me feel this way. Okay? And tell him, I am a person. I'm your wife. I do have purpose. You don't necessarily define my purpose for me because I'm an adult. I'm not your child. Okay? You tell a child what to do. You give a child a schedule. You don't give a grown woman a schedule. You don't give a grown man a schedule. You guys are supposed to be discussing these things. All right. So, and if he's not open to that, then I highly suggest counseling, because like I said, this goes deeper than this issue. This is just a symptom. And I'm very sorry that this happened. I do think it is solvable, but in the short-term interim, no. I would put your foot down about your mother-in-law moving in. But if for some reason you do give in and think that it's okay, be prepared that you may be suckered into also caring for her. So if you don't want that to happen, but you're okay later down the line with her moving in, make sure that he and she understands that there will be a caretaker and it will not be you, that someone will have to be hired. Money will have to be shelled out. Okay, money will have to be shelled out to care for this woman. And keep in mind, you're not the only one that has went through something like this. So I think that this will be helpful for others. So, we have disagreements with our spouses. That's not the problem. The problem is how it went down. Okay, so I hope that you found this helpful. And good luck to you and Creator blessed. And thank you all for joining me today for this episode of Tea Time with Tiana. And I also want to state again that the messages all go to my one of my admins in my readers group, LaJoyce Qualls, and I'll have her email address here where you can send your questions. All right. Love you guys. Bye-bye.